And that's the part that people don't expect. That integration doesn't arrive like a peaceful wave. Sometimes it arrives like a quiet rage when you realize how much of yourself you gave away just to keep everyone else comfortable.
We should probably just let them in right here.
Yeah, let's start in the deep end today. 3 episodes ago, at the start of this Mind, Body, and Soul series, we told you that you are not a mind dragging a body around like an inconvenience piece of luggage. You are a biodimensional being, physical, biological, subconscious, soul.
We showed you how your nervous system is hyper loyal, keeping you in survival patterns designed for a version of society that needs women compliant, exhausted, and easy to manage.
We showed you that your intuition isn't soft or fragile. It's not guessing. It's a 3-part weapon: body, mind, and spirit. And society has spent centuries convincing you that all 3 notes were out of tune, so you'd hire someone else to tell you who to be.
Today's episode isn't a fourth piece of polite information stacked on top of 3 other modules.
Today, it's what's happening when a woman's body, mind, and soul stop taking turns and start standing up together.
Welcome back to Sacred Soul Roots. This is the one we've been building toward the whole time.
Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm April. If you're joining us for the first time, maybe go back to the start of this specific series. Today we'll hit with 10 times the force if you've already felt the ear release, the breath, the hand on your diaphragm, and the physical lean of your internal truth.
If this is where you're landing, don't worry. We're walking the whole path today, start to finish, all in one room. Consider this the complete reunion.
Everybody has a seat at this table today. Physical, biological, subconscious, soul, body, mind, and spirit.
And none of those parts are bowing their heads or asking permission to sit down anymore.
Here is today's seed. Integration isn't a shiny new status symbol you purchase. It isn't one more self-improvement task to add to a mountain of emotional labor. Integration is the radical act of letting your body, mind, and spirit talk to each other without the societal censorship.
You don't need a middleman between your body and your soul. You just have to stop letting cultural conditioning keep them in separate locked rooms.
So let's name something honest before we dive in. This finale is a little different. It is less about introducing theoretical concepts and more about weaving in raw truth. We aren't bringing in foreign ideas. We are removing the muzzle and letting every dimension speak simultaneously.
It might feel uncomfortable at first. Then around the middle of this episode, it's going to hit your bone marrow. You'll feel it drop right down into your womb space, your gut, and your spine, not just your intellectual mind.
Okay, I want to name something honestly right off the bat because I think people hear a word like integration and picture some glowing, permanently zen version of themselves standing in the end of a long, quiet hallway.
The hallway with the soft ambient light, the natural aesthetics, and the giant fiddle leaf fig plant.
Exactly that hallway. And that's not what we're talking about today. That version doesn't exist. Not for us, not for anyone we've ever worked with, and not for those people on Earth.
What we're actually talking about is rhythm, not arrival. You don't finish integration the way that you finish a book or the way that you close out a course. You practice it in the way you practice a relationship, because that's exactly what it is: a live, breathing relationship between your body, your mind, and your soul. And just like a relationship, it has good weeks, awkward conversations, and occasional really rough days.
Which honestly should be a massive relief to hear, right? Because if you thought the goal was some permanent, unshakable calm you'd reach and then never leave, you were always going to feel like you were failing the second real life happens.
A passive woman is easy to govern. A regulated, discerning woman who trusts her gut is unpredictable. The goal was never permanent, agreeable calm. The goal is a shorter distance back. That's it. That's the whole target. Not staying regulated forever, just closing the gap faster every time that you drift.
So today, we're not teaching you a fourth new skill. We're teaching you how the 3 skills you've already started learning about are talking to each other without you having to manually force the conversation.
And let's be raw about this. We don't live in a bubble of permanent integration either. Just last week, I completely lost my patience in the kitchen because I couldn't find the frickin' cheese grater. I wasn't mad at any specific person. I had no idea who had misplaced it or where it even ended up, but I caught myself just like completely boiling over. I realized that the grater had zero to do with it. I've just spent 8 hours overriding my own body's signal, skipping lunch, pushing through 3 back-to-back client sessions, and ignoring my nervous system every time it asked me for a break. The missing grater was just the boundary explosion after 8 hours of self-abandonment.
Even after teaching somatic integration to thousands of people, the old conditioning still sneaks in.
Constantly. The difference is that 5 years ago, I would have stayed frustrated and stewed in that tense energy for the full day. Now I catch it in 20 minutes. I step back, I take a deep breath, and recognize. This was never about a kitchen utensil. I abandoned my own basic physical boundaries all afternoon, got depleted, and let a minor inconvenience blow up my peace. I'm taking responsibility for my overextended state.
And that right there is the shift. Not perfection, recovery time.
Consider the energetic output saved. When you cut your recovery time from 48 hours, 24 hours of initial frustration down to just 20 minutes of being just radically honest, you reclaim weeks of your life every single year.
This is how women stop leaking their power into endless cycles of domestic friction and guilt.
Let me tell you what happened last Tuesday morning.
Okay, I want to hear it.
So, nothing dramatic occurred, which is why it matters. I woke up, and before my feet even touched the floor, my hand moved straight to my stomach. I didn't plan it. It happened with an instinctual ease of reaching for my phone.
It's like somatic memory kicking in.
Pure physical habit. But under my palm, I felt a hard knot right below my ribs. Instead of reaching for my phone to distract myself with external noise, I laid there for 30 seconds and asked my body directly, what are we holding?
And what came back?
My mind hadn't even processed the day yet, but my body had been carrying an uncomfortable boundary conversation that was scheduled for 10 a.m. And my body had recognized that tension since Sunday night, while my mind was trying to rationalize it away and act like everything was just fine.
That is 4 weeks of work landing in half a minute right there.
Before the series, I would have entered that meeting with clenched jaw, a fake smile, a high-pitched, pleasing tone, or over-explaining my position just to keep the peace. Part 1 taught us where that bracing lived. Part 2 showed us how we swallow our own voice. And Part 3 taught us to trust that physical contraction as truth.
So by the time you swung your legs out of bed,
I already knew I was going into the room with a firm ground underneath my feet, not a defensive shield. I didn't fix the confrontation in bed. I simply refused to be ambushed by my own compliant habits.
integration isn't a mystical enlightenment moment. It is refusing to be ambushed by your own conditional responses.
Exactly. The practice didn't end when I got out of bed. I stepped into the confrontation at 10 a.m. 2 minutes into the discussion, I felt that familiar burn in my throat and my shoulders were starting to creep up towards my ears. The classic physical pattern of a woman preparing to back down.
What did you do?
I didn't stop to explain somatics or drop into an obvious meditation posture, that's for sure. I discreetly lowered the pitch of my voice just by like half an octave on the next sentence. That exact mechanical hum, resonance we practiced in Part 2, nobody in the room knew what I was doing, but the drop in vibration immediately signaled my chest to completely unlock.
So you regulated your own vessel in real time without seeking approval from the room.
That is the goal. You don't need a hall pass to regulate yourself. You don't need to ask permission to inhibit your own nervous system.
I had somewhat of a parallel experience on Thursday at the pharmacy. The man behind the counter was growing increasingly hostile over insurance code or something like that. He's raising his voice, leaning over the counter, radiating intense intimidation. Old conditioning would have had me apologize for existing, shrink my posture, and try to soothe his anger.
What did you do instead?
I felt my feet. Step 3. I drove my heels onto the floor, dropped my weight directly into my pelvis, and kept my spine long. I didn't absorb his anger and I didn't match his aggression. I stayed anchored in my own physical space. His hostility hit my boundaries and dropped flat because there was no frantic energy for it to feed on.
This is quiet sovereignty. This is what integration looks like in an ordinary retail line.
Let's review the arc we built across this series, framing it as one continuous restoration of power rather than disconnected self care steps.
Part 1, centered on the physical vessel and trapped adrenaline. Women are conditioned from childhood to hold their posture still, quiet their reactions, and absorb external stress without making a scene. We showed you how your body becomes a graveyard for unexpressed boundary responses. Step 1 of Let's Get Rooted is the gentle pressure behind the earlobes. This was your biological entry point to signal safety to your own vagus nerve.
2 moved into the subconscious and biological tissue. Your fascia, your gut, your visceral organs retain what your polite mind tried to forget. Women are socialized to use words to soothe things over, even when their own gut is churning. Step 2 integrated deep breath ratios, 4 counts in, 8 counts out, paired with low vocal hums to vibrate trapped tension out of the sternum.
Part 3 brought in the soul dimension of the triad of intuition. Society teaches women to fear their instincts, labeling it as emotional or irrational or even dramatic. We reclaim the truth, body as an antenna, mind as a translator, spirit as a broadcast. Step 3 grounded your sit bones and feet, while step 4 introduced the 4-second body lean, teaching you to trust your body's physical expansion or contraction over external opinions.
Look at what happens when you combine these elements into a single practice.
Ear pressure, resonant breath, foot grounding, physical lean. This isn't a checklist. This is a woman returning to her full biological and spiritual authority all at once.
Each phase prepared you for the next. Part 1 taught your body it was safe to feel noticed. Part 2 taught your body that it has the right to be heard through your own vocal tone. Part 3 taught your body it was worthy of total trust out in the world.
Notice, heard, trusted.
And that is how authority is reclaimed. First, you stop ignoring the physical cues. Second, you stop censoring your truth to keep others comfortable. And third, you back your own intuition even when it challenges the room.
We walked you through the complete dismantling of internal compliance, and we didn't need a single piece of dense jargon to do it.
Let's name the taboos around integration, because staying silent about how society profits off female dysregulation is a disservice.
Let's go directly there.
Consider the woman who works exclusively on her intellectual level. She reads every psychological text, attends every lecture, and can articulate her childhood trauma with clinical precision. She uses her mind to name her fear thoughts in 4 words, just like we discussed in part 3.
She has a brilliant mental filing cabinet.
She does, but her body is completely uninvited. She lives from the neck up. She holds her breath while typing. Her pelvic floor is perpetually clenched, and her shoulders are locked up by her ears. She can analyze her pain for hours, but she can't release it, because intellectual analysis cannot discharge physical adrenaline.
Mind Without Body is a brilliant thesis paper on a house fire while standing inside a burning living room.
Ooh, that belongs on a billboard.
Then look at the opposite pattern, the somatic purist. She can drop into her body in a second flat. Hand on a stomach, down-regulated nervous system, beautiful breathing patterns. But she ignores the soul dimension. She has no framework for personal meaning, no connection to spirit, and no vision for her destiny beyond physical comfort.
What happens to her trajectory?
She becomes extraordinarily good at regulating herself through situations that are fundamentally wrong for her. She uses somatic tools to stay calm in dysfunctional relationships, soul-crushing corporate jobs, and boundaryless environments. She pacifies her body while her life direction remains completely stagnant. She is beautifully regulated and entirely subdued.
Body without soul is a perfectly tuned vehicle parked in a garage with nowhere to go.
Perfectly said. Then consider the purely spiritual seeker, who's all vision, cosmic alignment, and high frequency language, but entirely detached from their physical reality of paying bills or managing a housework or setting real-world boundaries. Her spirituality evaporates the moment life requires concrete execution because it has no physical root.
Which brings us to the most pervasive imbalance in women's wellness today: mind and soul without body.
Spiritual bypassing. Let's call it what it is.
This is the woman who speaks in soft, perpetually calm cadence, uses spiritual vocabulary about total forgiveness and cosmic timing, and reframes boundary breaches into lessons. But underneath all that spiritual discussion, her physical body is bracing for impact. She has stepped straight over her body's valid fury and gut level revulsion to arrive at a healed mental state that looks impressive to society.
Compliant woman using spiritual language is still a compliant woman.
The physical body keeps the accurate balance sheet.
Always. It sends the invoice eventually. It manifests a chronic exhaustion, autoimmune flare-ups, pelvic tension, a sudden emotional collapse. The body refuses to be lied to with polished spiritual quotes.
And that is why this series was built from the ground up. Body first, subconscious tissue second, mind and spirit third. Never bypass the vessel to get to an agreeable spiritual conclusion.
Let's break down the practical framework to run every day. We call this the integration loop. Notice, name, nourish.
Notice is the physical body. What is the unedited biological sensation right now? No moralizing, no fixing, no hiding. Cold hands, racing heart, hollow gut, tight jaw.
Name is the mind operating as an objective witness. Not writing a defense brief, not blaming yourself, just clean labeling. This is anxiety. This is social pressure. This is old shame. This is valid anger.
Nourish the soul dimension by asking, what does my vessel need right now to maintain its integrity? And then, this is where women usually hesitate, actually delivering that requirement without asking for permission.
Notice, name, nourish. Body, mind, soul. In this precise order, every time.
Let's track this loop through a common scenario. So let's say you receive a text from a family member or colleague that contains a subtle but maybe passive aggressive dig aimed at putting you back in your place.
Step 1. Notice. What happens in your anatomy the instant you read those words? Does your stomach drop, your throat close, your breath hitch? That is immediate biological data, not emotional weakness.
Step 2. Name. Avoid the trap of saying, oh, I'm overreacting, or drafting a fiery manifesto back. State the reality in 4 words or less. That was a boundary breach. Or, I feel disrespected. Clean, precise, factual.
And step 3, nourish. What does your system require in that exact micro moment? Not firing back an instant response to appease your anxiety. Setting the phone face down. Taking 3 long exhales with a low vocal hum, and placing your palm over your chest for 15 seconds to confirm your own backing before typing a single word.
Compare that to the default conditioning. Most women skip straight ahead to the emotional management piece, soothing it over, convincing themselves maybe that wasn't a big deal, or drafting an overly polite response to keep the other person happy while their own gut is burning.
The integration loop takes no more time than your old reflex or self-abandonment. It simply requires radical alliance to yourself in the same 15 seconds.
Let's address the questions coming into our community because women are trying to execute this in environments that are actively resisting their sovereignty.
Great. So first question, what if I do the body check and encounter total numbness? Does that mean I'm disconnected beyond repair?
No, absolutely not. Numbness is not absence of feeling. It is an active safety mechanism, right? If your nervous system spent years in environments where expressing your truth was unsafe, numbness was the body's brilliant way of protecting you. Static is just the system that hasn't been used in a long time. Keep showing up for that 30-second check-in. Trust is rebuilt through quiet consistency, not demanding dramatic revelations on day 1.
Like that. So question number 2. How do I practice integration when I have small children, a career, and 0 solitude? That sounds like a luxury for people with an open schedule.
If these tools only work in a quiet studio with ambient lighting, well, they are worthless for real-life scenarios. What you're going to do is put your palm on your belly while standing over the sink doing the dishes. Use the 4-second body lean while standing in the school pickup line deciding whether to take on another volunteer task. Name a boundary violation silently in your mind while sitting in a chaotic staff meeting. Integration lives in the micro cracks of a demanding life.
And question number 3. What do I do when my body needs rest, but my soul is calling me to step in a big, terrifying new project?
That tension is common. Your body is speaking to current capacity and physical maintenance today. Your soul is pointing toward expansion over the next season. They aren't in conflict, they are managing different timelines. You honor the body's boundary today, getting real rest and nourishment so that the physical container has that strength necessary to carry the vision your soul is calling for tomorrow.
Question 4. I feel completely out of practice for 2 months during a family crisis. Do I have to start over from square one?
There is no baseline shame here, and there are no penalties. Your nervous system does not erase your awareness because life got chaotic. Somatic memory is like swimming or riding a bike. The neural pathways remain intact. So place your hand over your solar plexus right now. Take one long exhale with a hum, and your entire system will recognize the signal immediately.
Final question, and let's touch the third rail with this one. Is it fundamentally selfish to focus this much energy on my own integration when everyone around me needs me to care for them?
No, that guilt is the product of centuries of social conditioning designed to keep women functioning as uncompensated emotional buffers for everyone else. A woman operating from total depletion cannot offer real presence. She offers martyr energy, which breeds passive resentments. Regulating your own vessel is not self-indulgence. It is setting the emotional baseline for your entire home and community.
Your stability becomes an anchor for everyone near you. You cannot offer a solid ground to others if you are drowning in your own unaddressed stress.
Let's run the complete Let's Get Rooted sequence. All 5 steps linked to one uninterrupted practice.
If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road and listen. Come back to this guided section when you are stationary.
Find your physical foundation. Both feet planted flat on the floor or sit bones resting squarely in your chair.
Step 1 from part 1 is where we place 2 fingers behind the earlobes, right at the top of your jaw, and applying gentle, steady pressure. Begin slow downward circles, unclenching your teeth and letting your lower jaw drop just slightly.
Step 2 from part 2. Maintain that contact behind your ears and bring in your breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 calm counts. Exhale through soft lips for 8 counts. On that long exhale, release a low, steady hum from your diaphragm. Try that again. Inhale 4 counts. And exhale with a long, steady hum. Let the physical vibration rumble in your chest plate, not just your throat.
Step 3 from part 3. Direct your attention straight to your feet on the ground or your pelvis that is sitting in the chair. Feel the hard reality of the earth supporting your weight. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. The structure beneath you is doing the work.
Step 4, also from part 3. Bring a current decision, a boundary issue, or a choice into your awareness. Track your physical posture. Notice the subtle lean forward, expansion, warmth, subtle alignment. Or notice a pull back, a tightening, a weight shifting into your heels, bracing. Trust what your physical structure reports.
And step 5, the capstone that unifies the practice. Silently or out loud if you are in a private room, complete this sentence. Take whatever phrase surfaces first without editing or softening it for polite company. My body has been trying to tell me.
Let whatever surfaced exist without rushing to fix it, defend it, or tidy it up. You noticed it. You named it. That is the work.
Place one palm over your lower belly and one palm over your heart center. We close the sequence with our foundational declaration. I am open.
I am grounded.
I trust what I receive.
Notice the change in your internal climate. That wasn't 5 separate tools stacked together. One complete human nervous system being greeted at every doorway simultaneously.
Ears, vocal, vibration, feet, intuitive posture, honest statement. Hands on your heart, body, mind, subconscious, and spirit in the exact same room, speaking the same language.
If you completed that sequence and felt only a small shift rather than a massive epiphany, well, that's normal. Real integration is rarely loud. It feels like a long-held breath finally leaving the body. Quiet relief is valid, real work.
So let's translate this practice into an ordinary, demanding day, because if it doesn't work on a random Wednesday, it doesn't work at all.
7 a.m. Before stepping out of bed or looking at a screen, take 30 seconds. Place a hand over your stomach, take one slow breath, and check your baseline before the world makes demands on you.
12:30 p.m. midday. Before agreeing to an extra task or saying yes out of reflex, execute the 4-second body lean, forward or back. Consult your physical truth before giving away any of your time.
4 p.m., when tension hits, maybe in traffic or during a tense conversation or managing those domestic duties, name the feeling in 4 words or less. That is old guilt. That is overstimulation. That is a boundary breach.
In the evening, before sleep, run step 5. Finish the sentence. My body has been trying to tell me. Let the answer be messy or incomplete. You don't owe anyone a neatly packaged emotional resolution before your head hits the pillow.
That entire daily framework requires actually less than 2 minutes total, distributed across the day. It requires zero financial investment and zero specialized equipment, just radical presence with your own vessel.
And understand this clearly. Some days you will apply these steps and still feel anxious, angry, or even overwhelmed. And that's not a failure of the method. That means you're a human being living in a complex world, and you were aware enough to track your own state. Awareness during difficulty is the goal.
Integration was never about becoming immune to stress. It is about how rapidly and compassionately you can return to your sovereign center when life gets loud.
Let's map this across a full weekly schedule so you can see how this rhythm flexes.
Monday, transition day, systems rev up. Focus heavily on step 1, the ear circles, in the morning. Give your vagus nerve a steady, safety baseline before stepping into the external demands of the day.
Tuesday and Wednesday are more execution days. So use the 4-second lean constantly. You make dozens of micro choices on these days. Don't let autopilot just sign your life away to things that your body is actually resisting.
Thursday, accumulated fatigue often surfaces in physical tissue. Tight neck, lower backache, short breath. Dedicate 5 minutes in the evening to run the complete 5-step integration sequence to clear stored tension.
Friday, which is emotional release. Name the hidden cost of the week out loud to a trusted friend or a partner who can hold space without trying to fix or minimize your experience.
Saturday and Sunday, space for the soul dimension to expand. Pay attention to what brings physical expansion when there is no commercial agenda. Follow curiosity over productivity.
Rhythm flex. Some weeks you will execute every detail. Other weeks you will manage ear circles twice in traffic and nothing else. That still counts, and it remains a massive shift for self-abandonment. We must talk about what happens when an integrated woman steps into spaces with another person, because this is where societal friction occurs.
Most women were socialized to be the emotional shock absorbers of their homes and workplaces, scanning every room to make sure everyone else is comfortable before checking in on their own pulse.
The chronic peacemakers, regulating the entire room, abandoning their own structure.
That was my default for decades. Now, before entering a space where tension or conflict is present, I try to remember to perform a 2-second anchor. Step 1, behind the ears. Step 3, into the feet. Nobody notices. I step across that threshold rooted in my own physical vessel rather than floating out to manage everyone else's mood.
That changes the dynamics of the whole space immediately.
Completely. A dysregulated woman trying to soothe a tense room just adds secondary anxiety to the fire. An anchor woman standing firmly in her own body provides a solid physical baseline. Other nervous systems naturally adjust to the grounded presence in the room.
I see this constantly in birth work as a doula. In a labor room, panic spreads fast from medical staff to family members. If I walk into a room anxious or seeking to please, I just add to that noise. If I enter deeply anchored in my physical body, the energy of the entire room shifts towards the center without me saying a word.
Grounded calm is just as contagious as panic. We simply haven't been taught to use our own biology in social settings.
It's the same biological reality, whether you're in a delivery room, a corporate negotiation, a family holiday dinner even, or a confrontation with your partner. Anchor your own vessel first, then speak.
We need to address how integration operates during seasons of intense grief, loss, or personal crisis, because spiritual platitudes are kind of useless when your life breaks open.
Let's speak directly to that.
Deep grief shatters all 4 dimensions. Your body may freeze or tremble. Your mind loops memories endlessly. and your intuitive channel can go completely silent. That silence isn't a failure, it's your nervous system putting up a protective shield to keep your system from burning out.
We noted in part 3 that when life gets heavy, intuitive channels close to protect your capacity. That is biological wisdom, not loss of power.
Integration during grief does not mean running the sequence and feeling light or healed, even. Some days, integration is simply noticing. Your hand rested on your chest while you cried, allowing that physical touch to be enough for the day.
It may mean picking a single micro step, just the ear circles in bed, just feeling your heels on the rug while you grieve. No forced optimism, no toxic positivity, no rushing to find the lesson.
That single micro action is still the work. We are not asking anyone to perform wellness or act integrated while enduring heartbreak. We are encouraging you to leave the door cracked open a fraction of an inch so your body, mind, and soul can reunite when the acute storm passes.
They will reunite, not on an artificial schedule, but because your biological and spiritual dimension naturally seek harmony. Grief delays the reunion. It doesn't destroy the capacity for it. Here we stand at the close of this 4-part Mind, Body, Soul series. Physical, subconscious, intuitive soul, and today, all of them sitting at the same table, operating in full alignment.
If you have been with us since part 1 of this series, thank you. You have done real, quiet, revolutionary work on your own vessel, layer by layer.
And if you joined us midstream, welcome. Scroll to the start of the series and work with the ear circles, the 4 to 8 hummed breath, the grounding of the feet, and the 4-second lean. Then return to this finale. It will hit you with a completely different depth once you've set the foundation.
You were never meant to be a mind-dragging and inconvenient body through the world.
You were never meant to be a quiet physical vessel with no say in your own destiny.
You are a biodimensional being, physical, biological, subconscious, soul, mind, body, and spirit, a complete sovereign person. None of those dimensions were ever meant to be strangers or enemies.
They were simply waiting for you to stop asking for permission and bring them into the same room.
To learn more about our upcoming programs, retreats, and deep dive offerings, visit us over at SacredSoulRoots.com to see everything we have coming up next.
Thank you for honoring us with your time, your energy, and your presence across this series.
Stay rooted.
We'll see you down the road.
Sending love.